Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Wednesday evening, January 29, 2025. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you guys utilize the progress bar that's located at the bottom of the video, as well as the timestamps that are located not only in the comment section but the video description, so that you can skip to the point in the video that you want to see the most in order to save time, because we know that the videos over here with the Jamaica can be very long. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the that's been like in your year recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so we're going to be looking at some expert insight, well, at least one expert insight right here. This is Andy Hazelton. He is a physical scientist at the National Weather Service in the US, and basically he works with the Hurricane Center, makes predictions and whatnot. And I remember last year for the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season, he made numerous posts like this about what the season would have been like, and it definitely came to fruition. So it's good that he made a post about 2 days ago, that was January 27, highlighting what his thoughts are on the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season. So if you have a Twitter account or an X account, please ensure that you follow him there. He's one of the persons that you definitely have to be following as well. So he stated in his post, very classic positive AMO horseshoe signature over the Atlantic right now. This is what he's referring to when we see a horseshoe kind of pattern with the warmth of the sea surface temperatures stretching all the way from the northern portions of North Atlantic all the way down across the western or northwestern portions of Africa into the main development region and into the Caribbean. And what he's saying about this is that it is referred to as an AMO, and that if this were to persist into hurricane season, it would likely set us up for another active Atlantic year, maybe even similar to the 2024 Atlantic hurricane season. Now we remember how bad that was with Hurricane Beryl. We don't want another Beryl at all. He also stated that it does not seem like we'll be in more of a positive NAO setup for a while, though, which will increase trades and probably eat into the warmth some. Already some evidence of that in the last week or so. We'll see what the end of the cool season holds. So he is referring to this, basically highlighting that we could definitely get in on some windy conditions, some trades across the Atlantic, and he's stating that the strong trade winds across the Atlantic could eat into the warmth, could definitely eat up some of all of this very warm sea surface temperature in the yellow, oranges, and reds that we know fuel all of these storms in general. So maybe it could cool down a bit, and that's what we want. We don't want the numerous storms or hurricanes at all. But if this kind of pattern persists into the hurricane season, it would definitely be a bad situation. Taking a look at the 7-day forecast from the Euro as well as the GFS supercomputer models, as usual, we're going to be looking at the timestamp right here as we go to the next one, John 68 hours, and we're going to be looking at Jamaica right here as we look for all of this that we see on the key on the right. We're referring to the reds, the oranges, the yellows, and the greens represent inches of rainfall. So we can see that as we head into Thursday, what do we see? Some rainfall across northeastern parishes for sure, and even at the end of the day on Thursday we have some rainfall spilling into sections of maybe central and western Jamaica. Heading into Friday, we still see northeastern Jamaica being plagued with rainfall. We see the moisture and the greens across the northeastern portion of the island. By the end of the day on Friday, we see the rainfall spilling into central and western parishes. Very interesting. Saturday, not seeing much across the island in the morning. We do see some dots of greens to the south and to the east of us, though, that represents moisture. Then during the afternoon, across maybe sections of some southern parishes. Sunday, not seeing much on the island at all, maybe towards south, some scattered isolated shores. Then during the afternoon, we see some of that coming on shore. Let's see what's going on for Monday. Not seeing much of anything. We do see a lot of moisture to the southeast of us, to the south of Haiti, right there. And then by the end of the day on Monday, we see the moisture across our waters to our south as well as on land. Very interesting. Tuesday, what do we see according to the Euro? Maybe some rainfall across the northeast to our south to our southwest as well. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. So this is valid for Wednesday, February 5, 2025. And we don't see much happening across Jamaica at that time, but we do see some moisture to the south of us, heading into portions of Central America, Belize, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, right there. Let us match this latest Euro model to the latest GFS model. Let us see what is in store for us. So heading into Thursday, just like what the Euro was showing, some rainfall across northeastern parishes in Jamaica, maybe sections of some southern parishes or southwestern parishes, getting in on some action by the end of the day. Heading into Friday, we see the rainfall across the north and the eastern section of the island. Very interesting. Then by the end of the day, we see some of that spilling into sections of central and maybe northwestern parishes. And looking at Saturday, not seeing much across the northern portion of the island, but we do see a lot of moisture to our east and to our southeast right there. Sunday, what do we see? Some moisture across the waters to the north of us, as well as affecting the north coast, to the south of us and to the east of us, affecting central and western parishes during the late afternoon. Monday, we see the moisture to our north, we see to our south. By the end of the day on Monday, 0 on Tuesday, which is actually 7 p.m. on Monday, we do see the moisture across central and western parishes. And now we're heading into Tuesday, where we saw the moisture across the waters to our southeast, as well as across northern parishes. But by the end of the day on Tuesday, we see it across sections of central and western Jamaica. And we're going to be stopping it right here at the end of the 168 hours. And we're going to be looking for a consensus. So, on the Euro model, we mentioned that we saw rainfall to our south and to our west. On the GFS, we don't see all of that moisture to our south, but we do see some isolated shores in the greens across the north, as well as the eastern end of the island. We also see some moisture across Central America. We also see some dots of greens that represent moisture across the Eastern Caribbean on both maps. We'll see exactly what happened either way in terms of the accumulated precipitation forecast maps. Both maps here from the Euro and the GFS are showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Wednesday, February 5, 2025. And we can clearly see that the most rainfall over the next 7 days should be wherever we have all of those reds, burgundies into the purples and the pinks. We know the reds into the burgundies represent 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. The purples into the pinks, that's 3 to 5 inches of rainfall. And the peach color, anywhere from 6 to 8 inches of rainfall. And we can clearly see that the most rainfall over the next 7 days should be wherever we have those reds into the burgundies, purples, and pinks, like eastern Cuba, section of northern Haiti, portions of the Dominican Republic, eastern Puerto Rico, Guadeloupe, Dominica, Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Barbados getting in on some of the action too. And clearly we see that the most rainfall should be across Central America and Northern South America. So we're referring to Belize, Guatemala, sections of Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia getting in on the mix as well. So too sections of Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana getting in on some of the action as well. And we see that it's not only I believe this is the Euro model that's showing something like this, but even the GFS that is highlighting the rainfall over the very same areas that we highlighted. So especially those areas that are going to be getting on those dark reds into the purples and the pinks, that represents anywhere from 2 all the way up to maybe 4, maybe 5 inches of rainfall, those areas could definitely experience some isolated flash flooding. So we're hoping that the people who reside in those areas are taking the necessary precautions so that they're not that drastically affected by what's to come over the next 7 days. But regarding Jamaica's total accumulated precipitation forecast, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing what's expected from now up until Wednesday, February 5. And we can clearly see that the most rainfall over the next 7 days should still be plaguing northeastern Jamaica, where we see the greens into the yellows that represents anywhere from 50 all the way up to close to 50 millimeters of rainfall. The Euro is a bit more robust, getting into the orange shade right there, all the way up to 56 millimeters across Portland is what's expected. GFS a bit reserved, going all the way up to at least 44 millimeters, and we can even see portions of western Jamaica being shaded as well. On the Euro, getting in on those greens into the slight yellows, 15 all the way up to maybe 30 millimeters of rainfall expected. GFS a bit reserved, just with the dark blues. It's still representing rainfall, but not as much as what the Euro was showing. Either way, whatever happens, I'll definitely keep you posted on our other social media platforms, so stay tuned. Taking a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see a ridge of high pressure right here to the west of the Florida Peninsula, another ridge of high pressure right here across the northeastern portion of North Atlantic that we know are responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. We can see the tail end of a cold front right here as represented by the blue spike line to the far north of the eastern Caribbean. And we can also see a trough that was induced by that frontal system represented by the broken orange lines right here, reaching all the way down into portion of northern Hispaniola, another trough right here to the east of Florida. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can definitely make out all of these entities. First of all, the clouds associated with that frontal system right here across the northern portion of North Atlantic, as well as the trough that is coming all the way down into portions of Hispaniola. There's supposed to be another trough somewhere right here to the east of Florida, but we're not really making it out right now. But what we are making out is the low to mid-level flow of the clouds being steered from east-west across the Caribbean into Central America right here. We can definitely see the clouds crashing into sections of Honduras, Nicaragua, with all of that rainfall for sure. We can even see all of the moisture associated with the intertropical convergence zone crashing into portion of northern South America. We're talking about French Guiana, Suriname, Guyana, even heading into portions of Venezuela and even Trinidad and Tobago as we speak. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Wednesday, January 29, 2025. It was stated in yesterday's video that rainfall was in the forecast for parts of northern and eastern Jamaica. And we know northern Jamaica, we're referring to Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. Eastern Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. It was also predicted that we would have had some afternoon rainfall across sections of some southern parishes. And we know southern parishes were referring to Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. And what ended up happening, as early as 4:25 a.m., the infrared close-up satellite images were posted not only here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can see all of the clouds associated with some amount of activity that we got in on this morning, mainly affecting eastern Jamaica at the time, but as the day progressed, some of this spilled into sections of some northern parishes as well. So we definitely got in on some amount of isolated morning showers. And then by around 5:45 p.m., the visible satellite images were posted, highlighting some clouds, bringing some overcast skies, and some isolated showers, mainly to sections of the northeast, Portland, St. Anne, St. Mary, We can also see some dots of clouds across maybe sections of St. Catherine, as well as Manchester and St. Elizabeth before we lost the sunlight. So some of these clouds might have had some isolated showers within them, some maybe not. Either way, we definitely got the cloudy skies for sure. And if we take a look back at the visible satellite images of the island before we lost the sunlight, we can see it even better right here. We can definitely make out that low level flow pushing in from the northeast, if not the east northeast, especially into Portland for sure, where they for sure definitely possibly got some amount of isolated shower activity up in the hills near the mountains. Taking a look at the infrared, we don't see much in the way of cumulonimbus clouds at all. No blues, greens, yellows, oranges, reds, blacks, grays, or purples that represents cumulonimbus clouds. Just those low level whitish colors right here passing through. And we definitely have confirmation right here from See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing the Barbican camera. We can see at that time definitely dry. Don't see much sunshine at that time, which is 16:27, which is around 4:27 p.m. See people in their vehicles going about their business. One person right here walking on the sidewalk going about their business as well. Definitely fair weather today for the most part across the corporate area. We can even make out the hills of St. Andrew very well. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to see some more live streams like this, just visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They have these live streams for your viewing pleasure, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So subscribe today so that you don't miss out. Taking a look at the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours experienced across Jamaica from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology website. This map does indeed paint a picture of where we might have had the rainfall today. Definitely maybe across sections of the east, the north, and maybe across the southwest during the afternoon. It's not 100% accurate, but it does do quite a good job at painting the picture of where we might have had the rainfall for sure. And we definitely have a few comments here from some of our followers on our Instagram page. Don't see anything on our Facebook page, but on our Instagram page we definitely have one comment here from God's_favorite_daughter 46 stating dry in Waterhouse. Marlon_one God stating overcast skies. And I thank you both for confirming the weather in your areas. Alright, let us see what's going on right now. According to the latest still image from the Weather Nerds website, the latest still image is showing 0115 UTC, which when calculated, that's about 8:15 p.m. So this just came out 9 minutes ago, considering that it's 8:24 p.m. right now. And we can see that there's not much of anything across the island right now. We can make out some milky whitish colors right here associated with some cloud cover to the southwest of us. Maybe some clouds right here across northern St. Catherine. I think I see some clouds right here across maybe the Blue Mountains, but that's basically it. And if we take a look at what's happening right now, according to the latest from the Cuban Doppler radar, the Cuban Doppler radar is showing that the latest image was as of 8 p.m. So this came out 24 minutes ago, considering that it's 8:24 now. And we don't see much of anything. I'm pretty sure that whatever we see right here to the north of St. James and Hanover is a glitch in the system, because we can't even make it out on the satellite image right here. So don't be fooled, that's not rainfall. Even all of these colors that we see on land across the north coast, the greens, yellows, reds that we know represent all of this that we see on the key on the red, it's not really representing much in the way of rainfall at all. What I do believe is actual rainfall though is that little rain band right there to the west of Westmoreland, to the southwest of there as well. Let us see what's happening on the Guantanamo Bay Cuban Naval Radar Imagery. Let's reload this so that we have the very latest to show. We can see that we have some amount of rainfall across sections of the western peninsula of Haiti. We can't see much of Jamaica, but I think I can see some greens into some blues across Portland. They're used to getting some isolated activity for sure, so maybe they're getting in on some rainfall as we speak. Taking a look at the Cayman radar, Not seeing much happening across southern Cuba, western Jamaica, but we do see some isolated shores to the south of the Cayman Islands. Maybe some of those isolated shores to the west of Westmoreland as well that I saw popping up somewhere here. And let's see what's happening right now on See Jamaica's YouTube channel. What's going on across the flat bridge tonight? As of 8:26 p.m. we can see people in their vehicles crossing the bridge, going about their business. The rear Cobra definitely chilling as we speak. Nothing in the way of bad weather taking place right now. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 26 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 4 a.m. on Thursday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. Taking a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, look at this abundance of way above normal temperatures that's going to be experienced across Central America, Mexico, the Gulf of Mexico, and the United States. We don't want to see that at all. That's some hot temperatures right there. We can also see some above normal temperatures expected for Jamaica. We're talking about those orange colors that we can see from the key on the right that represents up to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. And we know the normal temperature for the month of January across Jamaica is around 86.5 degrees Fahrenheit. And when that's converted to degrees Celsius, that's around 30.2 degrees Celsius. So it should be receiving anywhere from 30.2 all the way up to maybe 32.2 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Thursday. And we definitely have to highlight the maintenance outage advisories here from my JPS Online's Twitter page, because we know that when we have power outages, it can definitely make the heat feel even worse because we don't have our fan or our AC to cool us down. So if you live or work in these areas, or if you have friends or relatives who live or work in these areas, let them know that a power outage is coming their way. So all of these are going to be valid for Thursday, January 30, 2025. And we're referring to Patty Hill to Buxton in Hanover from 9:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. We're also referring to Sutphin Place off Malines Road in St. Andrew from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Daniel Town in Trelawney from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Philadelphia in St. Anne from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Donkey Lane to Dromley in Trelawney from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Skyline Drive in St. Andrew from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Fort George in St. Mary from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Either way, if tomorrow is a bit too hot for you, we have some tips right here to beat the heat as usual. It states here, dress down, wear lightweight clothing and use sunscreen. Check on others including children, elderly people with medical conditions and pets. Be cool, stay indoors and make use of fans and air conditioners. Avoid alcohol and caffeine as they can make dehydration worse. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day. And I cannot stress enough the importance of drinking lots of water throughout the day. Put away those sugar drinks, drink water instead. Taking a look at the dry air map, we know that the dry air is represented by what we see here on the key on the bottom. That's the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. And we can clearly see that there's an abundance of dry air all across the Atlantic basin. And we know that the dry air is responsible for putting a cap on the entire Atlantic, making it harder for us to get rainfall because there's a lack of moisture. And we can clearly see that the driest areas right here off the east coast of the US, look at those reds, and across the waters to the west of Africa. Look at those white within those reds, very dry air. But we do see a lot of moist air to the south, right here associated with the intertropical convergence zone, right here to the east of Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, which explains all of the moisture that they've been receiving. Even now they're getting some thunderstorm activity. But as it relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Thursday, we can clearly see that North America, the Bahamas, the Caribbean, Northern South America, and Central America are in the clear. But I don't know about northeastern South America. Maybe some of these browns represent the Saharan dust that is clearly across the main development region. Could be intruding into some of these countries. Maybe Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana getting in on some of that. But we're indeed grateful that we're not seeing those dark shades of browns that we know mean the vigorous plume of dust that can cause very hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons. So we're glad that for 2 p.m. on Thursday, even Jamaica, which is right here, should be in the clear. Taking a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, both maps here from the Euro and the GFS are adamant that the waters to the far south of Jamaica, as well as the waters to the east of much of the Caribbean, should be high. We see the purples into the pinks that represent what we see here on the key on the bottom, right? That's 2 to maybe all the way up to 3 meter wave heights for sure. Looking closer at Jamaica's north coast, up to 2 meter wave heights on the north coast. Those dark blues into slight purples. South coast 1.7 right here to the south of Manchester, to the south of St. Thomas 1.9 meter wave heights. And that's because of the winds that are expected. Clearly we see a lot of bright greens into yellows that represents anywhere from 15 all the way up to 25 knots, maybe even gusting as far as 30 knots, especially to the far south of Jamaica. We have the strongest winds. You can see more of an easterly kind of flow across the Caribbean, curving more southward. So more of an east-northeasterly flow into the southwestern Caribbean. Right here we see some winds passing through the windward passage to the north of Jamaica, curving westward and then curving northward. So more of a southeasterly kind of flow as it heads up into the Gulf of Mexico right there. But regarding Jamaica's wind forecast, we can clearly see what's expected on the north coast, looking to be more of an easterly kind of flow. We see the strong winds as well, with the greens into the yellows. South coast something similar. So whatever comes off of the sea from the east, wouldn't be surprised if we get some rainfall on the eastern portion of the island, as well as maybe the northern end of the island. We'll see how it actually plays out. Either way, we see that the air could be piling up across sections of the western end. So who knows, maybe we get some daytime heating or rainfall across that area. That's where all of the air usually piles up in general, and that's where it's going to be piling up tomorrow. And with the upper level winds coming in from the west once more, if we get some cumulonimbus clouds being sheared off, the easterly direction would be the direction they're going towards. And if we take a look at the actual rainfall forecast maps now, this map here from the Euro and this map here from the GFS are both showing 7 a.m. on Thursday. And we can clearly see some blues that represent some rainfall that's going to be affecting maybe eastern St. Thomas, Portland, maybe St. Mary, as well as St. Anne getting in on the mix. And clearly we see that both models are in agreement with that. Skipping ahead to about 11 a.m. we still see the blues that represent rainfall across the northeastern end. Portland, especially maybe sections of St. Mary and St. Anne getting in on the mix. The Euro is trying to incorporate portions of Trelawney, St. James, Westmoreland, but we're more inclined to believe what both maps are showing. So let's continue to work with St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, maybe spilling into section of St. Andrew and St. Thomas. Then by afternoon now, this is where we start to have some disagreement on the modeling. And we know that when we have disagreement, it's usually hard with the forecast, very hard on the forecast, not sure exactly what's going to take place. The Euro is showing blues that represent isolated shores across sections of eastern, central and western parishes, especially across maybe sections of Westmoreland and St. Elizabeth where we have those darker blues. The GFS is showing some of these blues maybe across the far southwestern end of St. Elizabeth, maybe a section of western Hanover, northwestern Westmoreland. We also see some blues that represent rainfall still affecting St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland, but we don't see that on the Euro, but it's more so across section of most parishes. We'll see exactly what unfolds. In terms of the accumulated precipitation forecast, both maps here from the Euro and the GFS are showing that the most rainfall should be plaguing northeastern Jamaica. The Euro going all the way up to 0.76 of an inch of rainfall with the totals. The GFS going all the way up to 0.62 of an inch of rainfall with the totals. We'll see exactly what takes place. I'll definitely be here to keep you posted on other social media platforms. And we're indeed grateful that we're going to be receiving rainfall tomorrow somewhere across the island. We're in the month of January. We're in our dry season. We're about to step into February, one of the driest months of the year. Fire trucks going around galore, putting out brush fires, building and house fires. So we're in January now, and in Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive up to 20 millimeters of rainfall. That's close to an inch. An inch of rainfall is about 25 millimeters of rainfall. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive up to 3 inches of rainfall. That's about 75 millimeters of rainfall. And I would like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish usually receives for the month of January or for the entire year in terms of rainfall, you can visit www.weather-and-climate.com, and that website will show you that information. And you can use this nice little graphic right here that converts rainfall from inches to millimeters. You know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the math yourself. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have some amount of clouds right here passing through the Caribbean. An abundance of clouds coming through the Windward Islands into portion of northern South America. We see some moisture coming into portions of Honduras, Nicaragua, Costa Rica as well. Taking a look at the Doppler radar images though of the northeastern Caribbean, let's see what's happening right now across Puerto Rico and the areas around there. Not seeing much across the Leeward Islands, maybe some isolated shores to the east of Antigua and Barbuda. Some rainfall across northern Puerto Rico right there. But loading these images from earlier today, we can definitely see some isolated shores that were plaguing portions of central and western Puerto Rico for sure. Taking a look at the Barbados radar, not seeing much right now across Barbados, but we do see some isolated hit or miss showers to the east of Dominica, Martinique. Not seeing much activity across St. Lucia, but definitely to the south of St. Vincent, maybe the Grenadines getting in on some isolated shores. So too section of Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago getting on some of the isolated shore activity too. And if we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, not seeing much activity on the Florida or the northwestern Cuba radar, or even the Belize or Guatemala or Yucatan Peninsula radars. But we do see some activity passing to the north from east-west to the north of the ABC Islands, and we can also see that rainfall that Trinidad and Tobago is getting in on smoke, which is spilling into sections of Venezuela as we speak. And if we take a look at where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, look at how white this portion is. Cuba, the Bahamas, Florida, northern Yucatan, very dry up there. All of the moisture is represented by the greens, yellows, oranges, reds, especially the oranges and reds, close to 1 inch of rainfall. So the most rainfall over the next 24 hours from now up until 10 p.m. on Thursday should be plaguing northern South America, anywhere from Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana, Venezuela, southern and eastern Venezuela, Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, eastern Nicaragua, eastern Honduras, section of Belize, the Yucatan right here, eastern or northeastern Jamaica, far eastern Cuba, northern Haiti, sections of maybe the western peninsula of Haiti, portion of the Dominican Republic, northern Puerto Rico, maybe the US and British Virgin Islands getting some of the action according to the GFS, not so much according to the Euro at all. But we do see some isolated shores in store for Guadeloupe, Dominica, maybe Martinique, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago getting on the mix as well. And you can clearly see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.